her voice. It was a weapon. 1963, Miriam Makeba, exiled from her homeland, stands before the United Nations. She sings of apartheid, of injustice, of a beauty stolen. And with those notes, the United States government, fearing her power, silenced her, banned her music, erased her voice. But they underestimated the strength, the resilience of an African woman. For generations, the world has been captivated by African rhythm, by voices that carry the weight of history and the fire of liberation. But what happens when that voice speaks truth to power, when it becomes a weapon against injustice? The story of Miriam Makeba is a testament to the potent force of African womanhood, a force so undeniable, so resonant, that it shook the very foundations of empires. Apartheid South Africa, a system built on brutality, on the systematic oppression of an entire people. But even in the face of such darkness, the spirit of resistance burned bright. And at the forefront of that struggle, within the most dangerous weapon of all, her voice, was Miriam Makeba. Her music transcended borders, a universal language of hope and defiance. From the townships of Johannesburg to the concert halls of London and New York, her voice echoed the cries of the oppressed. She wasn't just singing songs, she was telling stories, exposing the raw and ugly truth of apartheid to a world that often chose to look away. And they listened. The world listened as she pleaded for sanctions against the apartheid regime, as she spoke of the daily indignities and injustices suffered by her people. Her words carried weight, her presence commanded respect. She became a symbol of resistance, not just for South Africa, but for all those fighting for freedom and equality. Her influence grew, her star ascended. She mingled with presidents and activists, artists and intellectuals. She was a force of nature, unstoppable, undeniable. And in 1963, after testifying against apartheid before the United Nations, something extraordinary happened. Something that revealed the true extent of her power. Her music was banned in the United States. Wait, what? Long before the world knew Miriam Makeba's name, another African woman shook empires to their core. In 24 BC, Queen Amanirenas of Kush stared down Rome, the greatest military power on earth, and won. Augustus Caesar, ruler of an empire stretching from Britain to Egypt, sent his legions south to crush her kingdom. But Amanirenas did not bow. She led her armies into battle, lost an eye in combat, and still fought on. Her forces sacked Roman forts, toppled statues of Caesar, and humiliated his generals. By 21 BC, Rome had enough. They signed a peace treaty, not with a king, but with a one-eyed queen. And here's the shock, Rome agreed to pay to Kush. Gold flowed. For decades, the mighty Roman Empire sent annual payments to an African woman who refused to kneel. Centuries later, another empire would try to silence an African woman's voice. When Miriam Makeba stood before the UN in 1963 and sang of apartheid's horrors, America banned her music. But like Amanirenas, she could not be erased. Her defiance became a weapon. So when they tell you African women are powerless, remember this: Rome paid for its arrogance in gold. And when America tried to mute Miriam, the world only leaned in closer. Because here's the truth they don't teach you: the first time Rome ever surrendered, it wasn't to a man. It was to. Miriam Makeba's voice was so powerful, it shook nations, and threatened those in power. But her legacy lives on, reminding us that African women have always been at the forefront of change. Today, her story isn't just history, it's a blueprint. A reminder that our voices, our art, and our resilience are unstoppable forces. Want to uncover more untold stories of African wealth and power? Join the Insider membership at pornoafric.com/membership.html for just $9 a month. Dive deeper into the narratives that shape our continent, because knowing our past is how we build the future. Subscribe now for more African wealth stories. Globe showing Europe Africa money back. This is Porno Afric, signing off until the next story. **